Welcome back to NSN Tonight. I am Chris Murray with one of our most special guests that comes into the studio, Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Nevarez. So you live up in Tahoe. I guess how's the winter been up there for you?
It's a little mild compared to what we're used to. So
we'll get some snow. I know you're a skier, so we'll get you on those slopes. But you got a lot on your plate, especially over the last 6 months. So I guess we haven't caught up with you since then. What have the last 6 months been like for you as you navigate this conference realignment?
A lot of spa days, playing a lot of golf. No, it's been an effort or a exercise in focusing our membership and continuing to communicate with our folks. And you know, today I feel like we're through. Like we have a stable membership. We're looking forward to the new look Mountain West and our tournament next week.
What was your level of surprise when 5 Mountain West schools went to the Pac-12? I guess, you know, September-ish.
Yeah, well, rumors had been leaking, so we had gotten a little bit of a heads up through various sources. Certainly it was, you know, not something we had hoped would happen, but something that wasn't entirely unexpected given the chatter in the rumor mill. Yeah,
and then you have your 7 schools stick together. You added Hawaii as a full member. I guess what do you think was the biggest reason why you guys were able to keep that core together in the early process of realignment?
Honestly, it was the core group of 7. They wanted to stay together. If you read our grant of rights and everything that was going on at the time, that was, it's not something I could have created on my own. Everyone came together and said, this is what we would like the new look Mountain West to look like, and we crafted it, and the speed at which we got it signed and memorialized was really a testament to how much folks wanted to stay together.
That guys gave you some stability as you went in to go look for new schools. I guess what was kind of your priority or the goals as you were rebuilding the Mountain West?
You know, our board and our athletic directors were really wanted to retain our geographic continuity. That was important. We're already an airplane league and we cover some vast amount of states and distances. So we're good at that. But that was important, I think, looking like the schools in the Mountain West. We're big public institutions, sometimes the only show in town, serve the community, accessible education. And so you'll see that thread through the schools that we added. And then, of course, athletic commitment. And the excitement with which the schools are coming to us, the minute the announcements were made, you could feel their communities, their bases have really gotten excited and stepped up and started investing.
If I can ask you about the individual schools, so you did add Hawaii as a full-time member from just a football member. You added UTEP as a full member. UC Davis and Grand Canyon, they don't play football, but they'll be full members other than that sport, and then Northern Illinois as a football-only member. So I guess what kind of was the appeal of all of those as you were looking through, I'm sure, various options?
Yeah, well, Hawaii, because it was already in the family, had a high level of trust and knowledge in who they were. We felt we could add the rest of their sports without substantially increasing the travel. We're really good at trying to balance big travels. Then I think UTEP was next. They had a lot of synergies with their former rivals in a lot of places because they used to compete in the WAC together. So they made a lot of sense, and they opened up Texas, certainly the western edge, but still, Texas market's no small thing. After that, it was Grand Canyon, and everything they've built with basketball is just so impressive. The trajectory they're on, you go down and watch any sporting event down there, and it's produced at such a high level. And then Davis and NIU, we wanted to be at 9 for football to balance scheduling. NIU certainly the only school to have beat Notre Dame before they went and won the whole thing. So that was really impressive. What they've built over time, what their president and AD have done, you can feel their long-term trajectory. They're committed to continuing to be competitive. And Davis, being in our footprint, amazingly well-built institution, very excited about joining us. I think they rounded out the picture really well. So we were really excited about that.
There may have been some FCS football options. It doesn't seem like anyone's really picked a lot of FCS schools of late. I guess, was that under deliberation? And, you know, Davis plays at the FCS level. Do you see any point at which maybe they could elevate football into the Mountain West?
You know, FCS has some amazing programs, ones that could come in immediately and be middle of the league, if not higher, and be competitive. The issue for us right now is that it's a 2-year waiting period, and there's significant political headwinds about expanding the membership of FBS, not adding FCS, more about, hey, how many schools do we have in FBS and do we need more? And so our concern was, even if we committed to an FCS now, that would be a great match, contribute in 2 years with the rules change.
Yeah.
And they couldn't be a member anymore. There was, our options were available to us to stay FBS, and that's where we wanted to stay today.
Yeah.
Does that change in the future? Maybe, but in this environment, we just didn't know.
It sounds like you guys are pretty settled for now. There's not a lot more like looking for more schools.
I mean, we're genuine in that today. Could that change tomorrow? Absolutely, in this environment. But yeah, I think we're going to figure out what our media rights negotiations will net out and then take a look at what's next.
Speaking of media rights, I mean, so you had a school in El Paso, that's a big market. You had a school next to Chicago, Sacramento, Grand Canyon is in Phoenix. You have Honolulu is now a full member. You already had Vegas and Albuquerque. I guess how important was media market when you were looking at schools, and where are you guys right now with like media negotiations?
Well, certainly media market is important, and those ads had a flavor of bringing that to the table, but also you need to be competitive in that media market. So we were pretty excited about the group of schools that we were able to get to round us out, but still feel really strongly about what we're bringing to market.
So looking toward the future, I guess, you have the media rights deal you're looking at. And I know you guys are, there's been some litigation with the Pac-12 and the departing members. They owe you a combined $145 million. There was some news that came out that you guys might go to mediation. I know that Oregon State and Washington State, they went to mediation when they lost all their members from the Pac-12, so it's not unusual. I guess, what is your goal if you guys do go to mediation to try and, I guess, maybe get some closure and start for the future?
Yeah, and mediation is always an exercise in efficiency. And like you said, our membership is solid. We're looking forward to the future. We want to get back to the business of focusing all of our resources, time, and energy on student athletes and championships and what we're doing on the courts and the field. So we'll explore mediation. Hopefully, it comes out positive. We can come to terms. But if not, we pick up the litigation where we left off, and we feel really good about our position in the litigation.
How much with you having a law degree has helped you through this process?
Almost too much. There was a reason I didn't practice law. No, but honestly, it's helped cut through some of the clutter, just being able to talk to the lawyers, think about strategy. It's funny, we joke that our deputy commissioner, he's got an honorary law degree with as many briefs as he's proofed at this point.
What makes you optimistic for the Mountain West future? Because, I mean, that future was kind of in doubt if you go back to last fall. And now you guys have your membership, you have stability, you have that grant of media rights, which is going to hold that core together. I guess what gets you excited for what's coming up for the Mountain West?
Everything you just said, right? We have stability, we have a grant of rights through 32, which lines up with the CFP, ESPN agreement, and who knows what the future holds after that, and everyone's expecting massive change. But right now, with the ACC settling, if the NCAA, gets the help that they're seeking through the politicians and protection against employment, we feel really good about our place in the ecosystem. And
you guys are coming off a pretty strong year. I mean, Boise State in the college football playoff. Right now, if the season were to end, you'd have 4 teams in the NCAA tournament in men's basketball. There has been some tournament expansion talk. I guess what would be your stance, or maybe the Mountain West stance on that? Would you be in favor of that, or do you like the 68?
Well, back up to what you said. Our conference champion, no matter who won, was going to the CFP. That was huge. What a special moment. We have a great history of being like first in whenever there's a CFP reformat. Second, all the build that's happening within Mountain West football, especially here at Nevada, it's just been really exciting to watch. And so then you touched on the basketball tournament. I'm a big proponent of it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm open to a conversation about expansion. I understand that right now the conversation is pretty minimal. Not a total reformat of the tournament, so I could get behind that, but I think we have to be careful of length of season, honoring conference championship events, that type of thing. But from what I'm hearing, it can be done without too many ripple effects, so I would support it once I see what the final devil in the detail type thing.
Obviously, looming over college athletics has been the House settlement, which seems like it's going to be codified here maybe in April. I know Nevada here locally has opted into the House settlement, so they could start doing revenue sharing up to about $20 million. I guess, what have been the discussions, I guess, with the Mountain West on opting in or not opting in, and how important it will be to have some of that revenue sharing? I know the American came out, I think today, and said, you have to do $10 million in revenue sharing over the next 3 years, or there's going to be questions about whether you're going to be in the conference. Like, are those conversations happening, or is that too much like dictating at that level?
Those conversations are happening. However, the question is, we're not a defendant conference, thankfully. So there's a lot of the detail that's happening in the negotiation and the planning that we're not privy to. So we're trying to source as much information as we can for our schools to make the best decisions. All of our schools have opted in, but we're still waiting to learn, what does that mean? How, if we're not at the 20 million level,
Yeah.
then what counts, what doesn't, what does accountability mean? And so we're just kind of waiting to figure out what that means. And we have discussed minimums, not just in house, but in what it means to be a Mountain West member.
Yeah.
And so we have all of that kind of at the finish line. The membership thing happened. We're going to bring that back up once we get to New Look Mountain West 26.
Is there something that nobody's really talking about that you think is important for college athletics or even for the Mountain West over the next 12 to 18 months that people might be overlooking?
No, but I do caution that student athletes, we need to be at the center of these conversations. And the core of what we do is educating young people in a higher education through a side of athletics.
Yeah.
And remembering that is at the core of what we do and who we are. And I think it's really important.
Awesome. Well, she is Gloria Nevarez. Thank you so much for the time and the insight. Enjoy your trip down to Las Vegas for the Mountain West basketball tournaments. And should be a really great tournament, both on the men's side and on the women's side.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
All right. We'll be right back on NSN Tonight after this break.